Hey guys, Jay-Sensei here again. This is going to be what if Naruto was the Atomic Samurai. Atomic Samurai is the, I believe, number 4 hero in stuff like anime and Murata manga, and then in One's story, he's the number 3 for the Neo Hero Association. So yeah, Atomic Samurai is probably one of the strongest characters in the series, because he can cut on the atomic level, which makes him very scary. So, yeah. Pause. Alright. So, before we begin, if you have anything to do, like chores, homework, even just gaming or your normal work, go do that. While I talk. Now let's begin. Now, what happens first is how Naruto would become a swordsman. Naruto is born naturally gifted, as he is in canon as well. It's just he didn't train that much until, like, later on. But in this one, Naruto would basically, he basically born at the physical peak for his age. Even characters like Choji, who are physically one of the stronger characters in the verse, cannot contend Naruto. As just with a single punch, Naruto can take out Choji with minimal effort. And even then, when it comes to like taijutsu, even with Sasuke admits that he's definitely more skilled than Naruto is. But Naruto's physical strength makes it so hard to fight because even if he blocks, his whole body hurts like hell because Naruto just bypasses that with just natural power. Plus he's just fast as all hell as well. But Iruka begins to learn that Naruto is in fact a genius, even when it comes to anything such as just swordsmanship. Pause. I misspoke, not swordsmanship. It was just blades in general. As we can in Kunai Shuriken tests, Naruto continued to hit bullseye after bullseye, or just learned how to spar with people with them on a high level way. As Naruto, when it comes to throwing kunai into a bullseye, Naruto continuously hit bullseye. Even if there was no room for kunai to hit the bullseye anymore, he would just get the kunai stuck in the already maxed kunai in the bullseye. So even then it's a technical bullseye. So basically makes him the pinnacle of a blade master. But one day, the Hidden Leaf would basically get a shipment of blades from the Land of Iron. As they have a few swordsmen, not many, but they have a few. Basically, have the Anbu, who all have mandatory swords. And characters like Hayate Gecko, who is also a swordsmaster. One day, though, when the shipment was coming, they had kind of just tipped over, spilling swords out everywhere. Naruto had been walking in front of a sword in an alleyway. They had missed, mainly because, a box had fallen on it, so it kind of just didn't see it. But Naruto had pushed over the box because, he saw the hilt. He pulled it out, swung it around, and he could feel power in the sword. Not like the sword's cursed. No, the blade is just made with a lot of chakra, so it's a chakra saber. Hold up one more time. Sorry. So, the blade is very similar to the white light chakra saber that Kakashi and Sakumo had wielded. Sakumo wielded it from childhood to adulthood before he had, himself with it. I think Kakashi would use it in his younger years until I believe it broke. Well, actually, yeah, I think it broke. But also, chakra saber, instead of having a white light, it'd basically be kind of a reddish orange. And it had a very flaming essence. So, Naruto would be trained with the sword, and pretty quickly he becomes a master at it. And he shows his natural affinity for swords. And soon he had walked into a library, and they did try to kick him out, but Naruto simply said he's here for books on swordsmanship. He wants to do better in the academy. This did intrigue a few people there. He wants to do good in the academy. In reality, he kind of does, but doesn't. Kind of a lie. He just wants an excuse for books. We basically ran over for a few books on Kenjutsu, a few books on chakra, all that. Basically just scrolls and books. After a bit, he did buy it with the rent he's supposed to have this month. But he had basically ran out, and Hiruzen saw Naruto leaving, wondering if he had the money for books. After walking in, they told him how much he spent on the books. Hiruzen kind of laughed, as he said that was Naruto's rent for the month. But Hiruzen kind of just ordered someone to kind of waive Naruto's fee for the month. But Hiruzen actually spotted Naruto training whenever he was in to do. And Naruto does a very similar training arc to Obito as a kid, where he was practicing chakra and all that. But where Obito practices jutsu, Naruto practices swinging his sword. He will do, let's say, he does something ridiculous like Lee, where it's 1,000 slashes a day. And if I can't do 1,000 slashes, I'll do 1,000 stabs. If I can do 1,000 stabs, I'll do 1,000 blocks. So, yeah. And here's him watching Naruto's hands get scarred day after day, his arms, himself. Even learning to conjure a clone because he needed someone to spar against. One day he was watching this. At this point, Naruto's around 11, so about a year before the story begins. Now, here's already told that Naruto's probably the greatest swordmaster in the village. As he had Yugao and a few other random Anbu, even Gekko, stop by and spy on Naruto. Even Hayate just flat out said, yeah, this kid is above me. Well, it says, he surpassed me. So, yeah, that's kind of just a standard of how strong Naruto is. Now, Hayate Gekko is a, pretty sure it's a Tokubetsu Jonin. That's a special Jonin. With pause. So, with this here's in the kind of actually kind of acknowledge that Naruto's skill is now probably around high Jonin level. Well, not high Jonin, high Chunin. Maybe if not average Jonin, if you want to like give him like some hand-to-hand combat knowledge or acknowledgement. As Fusion does know, Naruto's hand-to-hand combat is also very well like good. As Fusion does know, that Naruto's philosophy includes like, hey, I'm a sword master, but also my hands need to be as good as my blade. And kind of like Zhao Lung from Lookism, Naruto basically turns his hands into his weapon. If he can't wield a sword, his hands are now his blade. And he can funnel chakra into them to make them a blade. And Hiruzen thinks of it as a more lethal version of the chakra scalpel, which it is. And Hiruzen does acknowledge that Naruto kind of took a chakra saber that was actually meant for Gekko, but hey, they simply just said he doesn't really want a chakra saber. It's kind of weird to him. And he kind of prefers his own blade. So even then, the blade would have gone to waste with Gekko because he didn't want it. So it kind of just found its rightful owner by coincidence. Now Naruto started maintaining his body more because of the fact he knew, like, hey, I'm kind of smaller than my sword at this point. But Naruto, out of just necessity to make sure his sword skill grew, he maintained his body, maintained his mind. By the time that he is 12, he is actually the size of Sasuke. He is actually the appropriate like size, weight, all that. If not, maybe a little bit more toned and muscular because he trains day in and day out. Now, for the graduation ceremony, when it came down to like the tests, Naruto skipped it. He forgot about it basically. He was in the forest training all day and all night. Now, Hiruzen was actually here to see if Naruto would, how well he'd do. But Naruto wasn't there. And you look at Hiruzen saying, oh, Lord Third, I'm so sorry. Naruto is just still all over the place sometimes. Hiruzen says, oh, I know. He was like, what do you mean, Hiruzen like, yeah, Naruto usually just spends all day in the forest training. You're like, how do you know that? Hiruzen like, I pay the boy's rent. I need to know where he is. So after this, Iruko actually followed Hiruzen to the forest, and you see that Naruto is busy cutting the tree. Iruko's asking Hiruzen why, why Naruto's doing that. He realizes that Naruto's using basically just a branch imbued with chakra. And this surprised Iruka until Naruto would cut the tree clean in half. And then Naruto would say, alright, I have that angle down. Then with his sword, he would chop at that angle and cut down around 3 trees in that single slash. Iruka's jaw had dropped, and he realized that Naruto is definitely way above the kids in his class. So with this, Hiruzen actually pull a headband out of his pocket, walk over to Naruto, and hand it over to him. They talk for a bit. Iruka and Naruto talk. Naruto thinks he should do the clone jutsu, in fact, shadow clone jutsu as well, and then he leaves. Now, as Naruto heads home, Mizuki shows up still. As Mizuki still has the whole thing of like trying to convince Naruto. Naruto, he's not dumb in this one, but he's definitely just not as like smart as everyone else. If anything, he's like maybe a bit below average. It's like kind of like they'll just make a lot of dumb. No, he's like he has common sense, but he definitely lacks. So Mizuki still kind of persuades him to steal the school ceiling. Then in the forest, Naruto still reads through it. But Naruto being a proper shinobi, someone who properly trained, a user of chakra, in fact a really good one, Naruto can get down a lot of jutsu. So Naruto could comfortably get down Shadow Clone Jutsu first try, because he was already a decent user of the Shadow Clone Jutsu, which he learned that in this version would be like a year ago. And he uses that to just train someone to Shadow Clone Jutsu. He comfortably learns that with just first, maybe second try. So he continues going through it, and after a bit, he would settle on basically the Flying Raijin, being a jutsu that he's like, that's interesting. So Naruto's realizing that Mizuki should be here soon. Instead, he actually ends up grabbing a scroll from his pocket, that's usually just a scroll he uses for training. And he kind of ends up kind of scribbling something out, and writes down the steps for flying Raijin, and for basically the first few grades of it. Puts it away, waits for Mizuki, and Mizuki does a whole, like, you're the Nine-Tails demon. Naruto doesn't care, and when it comes down to finding Mizuki, Iruka had arrived, got him just chill. Because he knows for a fact that Mizuki will be torn to shreds by Naruto. And he arrives, and Naruto's sword in the ground, Mizuki pinned against a tree, when Naruto was ruthlessly punching him in the chest, calling him a weak ninja. Mizuki swings into the giant shuriken at Naruto, hoping to, cut him with it. But Naruto with a swift elbow, Muto Chakra would just shatter it, grab a shard, and impale it right near Mizuki's thigh, pinning him to the tree in the most painful way. Mizuki's chest is bruised and bloody, his face is swollen and bloody as well, and he kind of pleads for Naruto to quit hitting him. With one quick just chop, Naruto knocked out Mizuki in just one move. Iruka arrived, calling Naruto kind of stupid for saying that, saying, "You're already a ninja, why would you fall for this?" I don't know, I kind of thought it was another thing, I kind of do a whole other one. Iruka kind of face palms, and then the scrolls returned, Mizuki's arrested, and Naruto's treated to ramen. Next day, when Naruto shows up to the class, surprised that he has a headband, but Iruka explains that Naruto proved himself after school. So, yeah. And Team 7 is still formed. So, we go on to when they meet Kakashi. And Naruto knows that Kakashi was going to be late, kind of just went outside her training with the sword, and shows off to actually be a very impressive fighter. In fact, even using shadow clones to help spar and train. Naruto's clothes are very similar, I would say, in the pants department, but in terms of a shirt, I can probably see him wearing basically just like a basic kimono just to tuck his sword, or just a basic shirt with like a sash around his waist to tuck his sword. So, yeah. So, a kimono or a just normal shirt with a sash would probably be what Naruto wears. So, Naruto would basically turn outside, impressing Sasuke and Sakura with how strong he seems to be. And soon it goes on into Kakashi arriving and tells them, meet him on the roof. Naruto would just body flick up there pretty quickly. He learned that passively as well. He basically knows every like basic ninja technique that the most Jonin use. One thing that he doesn't use probably would just be taijutsu, and it's mainly because his hands are basically meant to become swords. Swords and basically just what is this? His hands are blades. Is what I'm trying to say. And he also uses some chakra and does precise movements. Not really techniques, just he moves pretty well, and then he will land blows infusing by his body of chakra. Even if it's not a technique, it's going to hit you in a way that you will not recover from. Now, Kakashi was unsurprised, but Kyoto was article about here's that Naruto is definitely a genius. So eventually with this, it goes on to him to ask him likes and dislikes, and Naruto says his likes are ramen, blades, and animals. His dislikes, weaklings, arrogance, ignorance, and traitors. His goal, he throws a sword around and says, I'm kind of curious to see if there's a blade better than this, so I want to see if I can find one. That'd be my goal. My dream, attaining the title of God of Shinobi as a Kenjutsu Master. Kakashi would think for a second and tell Naruto, alright, you're interesting. Sasuke and Sakura have their own goals, and he calls them boring, telling them that Naruto is kind of basically like, he's a unique case, and he's actually kind of interesting. Not most ninja are Kenjutsu Masters. In fact, in Konoha, there's only about 2 Kenjutsu Masters, and they're both qualified as special. Now we go on to the next day being the bell test, and Naruto had arrived on time. But he arrived eating. However, Sasuke asks him why he's eating, and he simply just says, because he knows for a fact Kakashi's going to be late. After about 15 minutes, Sasuke just agrees Kakashi's going to be late, and starts eating as well, kind of fishing in the river and cooking some food. Naruto asks them if they know any special techniques, just ninjutsu. Sakura says she doesn't. And she tells him how she only knows the basic academy jutsu. He just kind of nods, and Sasuke says, basic academy jutsu plus fireball jutsu. Sasuke shows it off, and with just one simple slash, in a blink of an eye, Naruto cut the fireball in half. and he called Sasuke kind of just weak. So they gave him basically run down chakra control, like walking on water, walking up trees. And Sasuke had trouble for a bit, but Naruto, having had trouble himself, would actually teach Sasuke to do it pretty quickly. And Sasuke learns it a lot earlier and a lot easier because Naruto's a helpful person. Also tells them to imbue their bodies with chakra, and learn to imbue chakra in all the right places, and if you do that, your power output will rise to unspecified levels. Even though Sakura imbue chakra in your fist and punch a tree. She did so, and the tree would basically have a major crack. And one more punch, she sends the upper half flying. Her hands hurt, but she's surprised. Also, do the same thing with Fireball Jutsu, basically overflowing the chakra, but making sure it wouldn't drain him. And with that, his fireball is bigger, and it's hotter. Pause. Alright. So Kakashi would arrive, and he sees that Team 7 actually seems, fine. And he asks them if they ate. Naruto says, yeah, they all ate, and the food should be good by now. Should digested and all that. Kakashi kind of laughs, and then the fights begin. Or the bell test begins. Naruto shows up by basically only using hand-to-hand combat, and Kakashi shows that Naruto's hand-to-hand combat is special, but also dangerous. At some point, Kakashi would try to block, and Naruto actually has a weird feeling. So he uses his hand with chakra, and actually cuts down Kakashi, cutting his arm wide open. As blood hits Naruto's face, Kakashi then poofs into a clone, and the blood on Naruto's face vanishes. Sasuke and Sakura are just watching this encounter because they know they weren't really right to step in. Kakashi kind of laughs, as he can tell that Naruto only did that because he felt something was off. He followed his instincts. With that, Kakashi would come out of the shadows and close his book, but he isn't really taking them seriously, kind of admiring the environment. And he fights all of them. He actually does comfortably beat Sasuke and Sakura, but Naruto's still a challenge for him because Naruto's sword skills are actually dangerous when Naruto pulls it out. But Kakashi is eventually able to subdue Naruto, pin him down, and then eventually he defeats Team 7. But Naruto is the only one who got a bell. But with this, it's just up to Sasuke and Sakura, who have to do their own test. And Naruto can pretty quickly tell where they're falling apart. Then you realize why he fell apart. Or why he lost, basically. But he jumped up, and Kakashi threw a bell back at him, and Kakashi knows what he's doing. Also has a sword, he believes tells Sasuke and Sakura that he's going to stall, recover your energy, then join me. And they do as told. Sasuke is reluctantly, but Sakura tells him that we need rest. After about 15 minutes, they both jump in, and they begin fighting. Sakura starts doing her hands with chakra again, and lands a blow on Kakashi, which, well, not land a blow, he blocked it with his elbow, but actually hurt him instead. He thought it would hurt her, but no, he always used her fist chakra. It did sting a bit, but not as much as it stung him. Then when Sasuke used Fireball Jutsu, Naruto swung his sword into it, which Sasuke thought he was going to cut it in half, but no. Naruto's blade kind of more or less channels most kinds of chakra, but it's great, or greater, with fire style. After moving chakra, Naruto swings his blade through it, and he drags the fireball along. Kakashi tries to evade it, only for Naruto to throw the fireball from the blade right at him, hitting Kakashi head on. Or, not almost head on. Kakashi did evaded it, but it did burn his arm. Naruto realized that, and it began attacking Kakashi's weak point. Kakashi knew that's what Naruto was doing, and he took it more seriously because Naruto's a very lethal fighter. But Sasuke began joining in, and Sakura had noticed there's an opening now. Kakashi thought he was going to, they're only going to target his weak point, and he thought they were being too average. Sakura would dash by, snagging the bells. Kakashi laughed and said that they pass. He was like, what do you mean we pass? Only Sakura had bells. That's just what he said. Naruto figured it out. The goal is teamwork. And Naruto saying, yeah, it's kind of where I started watching you guys, and I realized you were failing because you had your own attacks in mind. Once we worked together, well, we worked out. They actually told them good job, and they all pass, and then we go on to the 1 month of kind of just BS missions. Now, Naruto continued training basically just day in and day out. Like, even if it's like, oh, deliver groceries. Naruto's basically doing that while, like, doing a hand, and the groceries are on his feet, and he's just basically doing a hand and walking. Or if it's like, hey, like plow this field. Naruto's doing it by hand and just with clones, and continuously makes more and more clones to test out, like, how much clones he can make continuously. He turns everything into training, and soon Sasuke and Sakura begin joining in. By the time it comes down to the Land of Waves mission, sorry about that, Sasuke had already became a Sharingan, two tomoe in one eye, one tomoe in the other. Sakura began basically focusing on trying to learn how to control chakra even more, and to the point where Kakashi flat out just said that she'd be a great genjutsu user. Hold up. Alright, so they're all basically just a bit stronger. Sasuke knows a bit more fire release. Like, he has a great fireball jutsu technique, but he also has, great dragon fire as well. And Kakashi also taught him the Phoenix Sage technique, which is not a Sage jutsu, it's just what it's called. Sakura learned a bit of Genjutsu as well, and she learned her chakra natures, but she mainly uses, Genjutsu. And Naruto can basically use wind, fire, and basically just those two, but he doesn't know many jutsu from them. He kind of imbues the sword with chakra, and then it usually works out. So, yeah. Naruto actually says that Naruto and Kakashi look good, but Sakura and Sasuke don't really give him confidence. Eventually they go on, and first it comes into the Genjutsu cast with the Demon Brothers. Pretty quickly, Sakura flat out just calls it. Naruto having control over his chakra on a great level, plus even being able to conjure a bit of Chroma chakra. Not a lot of it, but he can basically do the first form. Or first two forms, technically? Because he has the transformation where he just has claws and just teeth, and then red eyes with no tail. He has that. But also he has, what was it? The first 3 tails without the transformation. He has basically up to that. So 0 up to 3 tails. And then with that basically makes him into Genjutsu. Well, Sasuke also has a Sharingan that kind of makes him bypass it pretty quickly. And then Kakashi is just Kakashi, so you can pretty quickly spot it. With all of them pretty quickly seeing through the Genjutsu, Sakura is the one who dispels it, and Demon Brothers are forced out of the puddle. When they land, they charge Team 7. When they try to do their chains, in the blink of an eye, Naruto just splits by them, and does a whole quick sword draw, shoots the sword in one motion, and the chains are all cut to pieces. It was a surprise that the chains kind of just collapse around Kakashi, but then Sasuke look at one Demon Brother, put him under Sharingan Genjutsu, which doesn't last long, but that's enough to cast a Lion's Barrage, Lion's Barrage Taijutsu technique, and that actually beats the Demon Brother. Pause. Alright, so Sasuke would hit Lion's Barrage and defeat one Demon Brother, while Sakura would basically just hit one with a chakra-infused punch, which Kakashi would teach her about Lady Tsunade. Sakura already has an idol in Tsunade, and then with this, she would strive to be like her. So Sakura's already studying things like he's studying medical ninjutsu, but doesn't know how to use it. So she's studying it, but doesn't really know much about it. Or at least using it. She knows about the basic practice of it. But with one punch, she basically sent the Demon Brother flying into a tree, and Kakashi would pin him down and then interrogate him. Well, that Sasuke had defeated, Naruto's going to hold us down with a sword by his neck. So once they get what they need, they continue moving, saving them a few hours. And then when it comes down to first the bunny Genjutsu, Naruto said release, and then kind of just rolled in the mist. Naruto looked around saying, this would be a handy jutsu. I should learn it. But when Kubikiri Bucho was sent flying by Zabuza, Naruto quickly just unsheathed the sword a single bit, and then deflects the blades and get flying into a different tree. And Kakashi just kind of groaned and chuckled, saying, I forget how skilled you actually are. And Naruto says, so do I. He pulled out the sword, and just told them all, keep going. Kakashi was confused, and then actually was confused. It confuses everyone except for Naruto. He then says he can just tell when people are here, and he wants to fight. He says, in a bush, there's 1. Then, on top of the blade, there's 2. And Zabuza appears. Zabuza asks Naruto if he really thinks he can fight him alone, and Naruto says if it's pure swordsmanship, he can't lose. He goes stance, Zabuza kind of smirked, jumped down, and wielded Kubikiri Bucho. Kakashi refused to leave Naruto behind, but Naruto simply just told him to, I recommend going, but you're probably going to be attacked by the guy in the bushes. Kakashi just nods and says, alright, we'll split them up then. We'll go, they'll probably attack us. If we defeat them, we'll come back in and help you. Just hold your own as long as you can. Naruto shrugged and said, alright, got it. But he just jumps away. Sasuke using Body Flicker, Sakura basically running with chakra enhanced speed, and Taza being dragged along by Kakashi. Naruto and Zabuza being clashing, with just slash and slash, stabby and stab, all that. And Zabuza started realizing that Naruto isn't really attacking, he's analyzing. Naruto is running back from Zabuza's attacks and yells, "Air Blade," or Flying Sword, which is a technique from Atomic Samurai. And he slashes the air, sending one giant blade of chakra at him. It'll block it, but he does realize it chipped his blade, like a big chip in it. But then Naruto jumped forward and yelled Atomic Straight Slash. And with that, Kubikiri Bocho's cut clean in half. The other tries to evade the upper just slash, but immediately one of his eyes is cut. He's not blind, but there's blood in his eye now. So with this, Zabuza kept trying to avoid Naruto, but Naruto isn't going in to kill him. He's going in for thin slashes. He's not trying to kill Zabuza. He's trying to annoy him. Or just not annoy him, but get him away, basically. Now, eventually, Zabuza and Naruto's fight goes on, and eventually Kakashi would arrive. Haku in a chokehold and unconscious, but his arm is a bit full senbone, Kakashi says. Meanwhile, Zabuza has a few thin slashes on his face, but blood is in his face. Kubikiri Bocho is in half, and Zabuza is trying to use his own blood to repair it, but he can't see where to aim his blood drops. Naruto has 3 cuts as well, but he's a lot faster than Zabuza is, so he made it out alive. Zabuza then smirks at Naruto, asking him how long he's been training with the sword. And Naruto just simply says, maybe about 5 years. About 5 years. Naruto kind of laughs and says, only 5? I've been at this for well over a decade, and I still lost. He sighs for landing Kubikiri Bocho's broken half in the ground, and simply tells Naruto he can't win. He can't beat a genius. Naruto tells him that's a losers think. Naruto just sighs and says, no, in my experience, that's the truth. I can't beat a genius. Naruto knelt down and simply said, I've never had a proper teacher. I want to spare you. I need a teacher. Kakashi already knows he's used a saber before, but Naruto's skills are on a whole different level. So with that Kakashi simply said he'll also spare the first spell, or spare whoever this is holding Paku, if he teaches Naruto. And he'll be granted sanctuary in Konoha, if he agrees. Those of us thought about it, the idea of training a genius like Naruto. Well, Haku's genius in his own right, but Naruto is something special. Zabuza kind of laughed and said, really? You're going to spare my life if I teach you? He says, yeah, if you want to. Zabuza pulled himself to his feet, spit up a little blood, wiped his face, and said, you have a deal then. So with that, Zabuza kind of moved his bandages to cover up his forehead, where most of the cuts were, and then eventually he picked up Haku and carried them to land of waves. Because Zabuza already knows that, now that Naruto would fight Zabuza and already knows a lot of his techniques, it's not really going to be a fair fight. Haku wakes up questioning Zabuza, why aren't we fighting them? And Zabuza simply just said, honestly, the kid put me in my ass, and I'm not willing to go through that again. And just shrugged. Haku understood and sat by Zabuza quietly, while Naruto and Haku actually bonded a bit. Eventually, when Gato and his men roll up, they're wondering why Zabuza hasn't killed them yet, but Zabuza simply just said that he was offered a better deal, and that's about it. Now Gato's like, wait, you offered a better deal? How? And the Konoha actually offered me a deal, and the village did, which is a bluff, but it's enough to actually make Gato pretty angry. Gato's trying to amp the price up, but while he's actually just yelling at Zabuza, Haku was sneaking into the crowd of ninja. And basically just quickly stabbing him in the neck with senbone, one at a time, but at absurd speeds, the speed of lightning, basically. Which when Gato turned around saying, screw it, kill him! All his men had their heads up, and they're kind of choking on their own blood, until they all began collapsing. And in the middle of it was Haku holding a single senbone, and would just flick it right into Gato's face. Gato fell back, and that would end Gato's reign. Zabuza walked over, picking up Gato's body, tossing it in the water, telling him he can just be fed to the fishes. Pause. Zabuza would look through all of the swords in, the men and around him, and he already knew that he'd have to return to Kubikiri Bocho for even a chance to have peace in Konoha, and Hidden Mist not wanting to disturb either. Basically just I need to return this to live peacefully in Konoha. So he's looking through all the blades in, all the dead ninja, or picking up a solid katana, saying, well made, and it seems sturdy. Then he tucked it in his waistband, and then started walking. And he's doing told Team 7 he's gonna steal from Gato. And he says he'll meet them in Konoha in a week. A week later, Naruto will be waiting at the Konoha, as he hadn't really left all week. Izumo and Kotetsu are a bit confused on why Naruto's waiting, until they see Zabuza approaching. They look at the bingo book, as they feel like they recognize him. They're ready to fight, Naruto just said, he's a guest, just wait. Zabuza walked over, her bandage is still on his forehead, and a few blood splotches all here and there. Naruto laughed, saying, I guess I cut you deeper than I thought. I said, nah, they just won't stop bleeding. I guess your blade is just that sharp. So with that, Naruto brings Zabuza to Hiruzen's office with Kakashi and Thinking waiting, and Haku's there as well. Eventually they go to Sanctuary, and Zabuza confirms that he has no ties to the Hidden Mist. He even bought his way out. And then he's going to buy his way to Konoha using Gato's money. So with this, we fast forward another week, and we get to the Chunin exams. I guess the preparation for them. The first thing that happens is the encounter with the Sand siblings, and Naruto will just be walking around Haku and then Team 7. And Sasuke and Sakura aren't as annoyed by Naruto. He's a pretty chill guy. The only thing he kind of just is more annoyed by them than they are of him, because they're pretty weak to him, and that annoys him a lot. But they're definitely pretty strong compared to Genin at this point in the story, as Sasuke has both Tsutomu Sharingans now. And in fact, he's trying to learn Ice Release from Haku as well. He finds it interesting. Actually, includes him learning more and more nature releases. And Sakura is just learning more and more Genjutsu, plus more and more Taijutsu to enhance her strength. So, soon it comes down to Sand siblings and then Konohamaru. Naruto still saves Konohamaru as he doesn't know who he is. He actually has the same relationship as Kanon, that's why he didn't cover it. We saves Konohamaru, and then Conqueror tries to threaten Naruto. But in the blink of an eye, Naruto trusts his katana, and Conqueror sees him putting it away. He's confused until the ears of his, onesie just fall off. And Naruto just says, that could have been your head. Conqueror's a bit annoyed, and goes to hit Naruto. So Haku grabbed his fist, put him in a wrist lock, and then Tamari threatened with a kunai to her throat. Gaara appears, but Sasuke had already attacked him, and Gaara's sand had blocked the attack, but Sasuke's elbow had made it at least some way through. So Sakura punched the sand, blowing it everywhere. And with that, Team 7 solidifies themselves as the rivals for the Sand siblings. Sakura can basically blow apart Gaara's sand with just her bare fists. It does hurt her, though, as Gaara's sand is still pretty tough. But Sakura does notice that, how tough the sand is. In the beginning, her hand would have been shattered. She knows it. But now, all they did is just make a few cuts that kind of sting. Now, we move on into when it comes to them meeting Lee, and Lee attacks them. When Lee attacks, Sasuke is still basically just too slow to react, but Naruto would actually put his hand up and catch Lee's fist. Now, Lee realized that Naruto didn't cut his fist, actually. Naruto just put his hand up and blocked it. Lee can see Naruto's hands covered in a few small scars, and a few bruises even on his hands as well, showing that he was actually recently training, even calluses all over. And he tells Naruto he can see the signs of a warrior, or at least a valiant fighter. Lee would hop back and back to Naruto, and Naruto noticing Lee's bandages on his hands, asks Lee to undo his wraps. Lee does so, showing off various stitch lines, scars, and Naruto shows off by bowing back to Lee. With that, Lee tells him they can pass. But Neji actually jumps down, talking to Lee, asking him why he let them go so easily. And Lee simply just said he can tell when someone's of his caliber or stronger. Naruto's definitely the latter. He is far stronger. And then Neji groaned, as Naruto talks to Sasuke and Sakura, as a way with Haku outside the window. With that, they head into the entrance exam as Naruto quickly talks to the Genjutsu, because he's basically immune, as is Sakura. Sasuke is probably the least Genjutsu invulnerable. Like, he's the one who can't really just see through it immediately. Naruto can, because his mind is strong, but then so is his, Nine-Tails connection. Sakura's just a Genjutsu master, or in terms of chakra she is, so he can pretty quickly just see through it. So they bypass Izumo Kotetsu, head into the exam hall, and Naruto will take a seat. Pretty quickly, Naruto can just look around, and he sees people cheating all over. He looked around, and he decided that, alright, the point is cheating. So when he also offers to help him cheat off her, he agrees. So he cheats off her, and she tells her, you should be Akugō and Sakura. She's the one who can ace this. Naruto does as told, and with that, he cheats off, Sakura. Well, he's not going to cheat off Sakura. Pause. I feel like you keep hearing that chair. I need to probably oil some of it up, but yeah. Oh, do I have WD-40? I might. Alright, but yeah, sorry about that chair thing. But yeah, let's keep going. But by the end of it, though, they haven't really broken any records, but they still did the test in decent time. So Sakura turns into her paper, then followed by Hinata and Naruto, and then eventually Sasuke, who caught a quick glimpse of Naruto openly showing his Sasuke. Like, quickly flicked it out, using Sharingan, quickly saw the answers he needed, they wrote it down, and Neji saw a glimpse of it as well. Naruto wasn't really hiding it, it was just, if you're fast enough to look at it, copy it. It's just open for everyone. So if you can perceive it, you can copy it. I don't care. That's kind of how it went. But with that, Sasuke got his answers, Neji got his answers, Neji helped Tenten and Lee cheat, and then they turned in the paper. Naruto gets sorted out from the examiner, and then eventually it goes on to them meeting Anko. Anko's still kunai at Naruto, but he quickly would just catch it with 2 fingers and tell her that she was a bit off-center. She asks what he's talking about, and he says, he would have aimed it here, and he turned it a little bit, saying, it would have went clean through my head. Or, but if you muted chakra, it would have. But regardless, it would have hit me in a spot where I would have been dead for sure. When he threw it at me, it was only about a 98% chance. He moved at Anko, who kind of just scoffed, calling him, so what, you're an expert now? He says, yeah. And he seems solidified that, yeah, he basically has the best academy records for kunai and shuriken throwing. Like, he had broken every record they had. Anko's like, oh, yeah, you're actually an expert. Never mind. So, yeah. Okay. Now, for the Force of Death, it goes on to the first when they fight the Hidden Rain team, or Naruto's when he goes to use the bathroom. And he pretty quickly would just dismantle the team in within seconds. It was not a hard fight for him. They're pretty weak. Comes out to the scroll saying, this is the same scroll we have. We don't really have anything of use. It doesn't have anything of use to us. But with that, he actually looks around, and even using floating chakra in his eyes to spot another team. Then he actually ends up spotting Shikamaru's team. He asks them if they know what scroll they got, and they say no. Naruto can barely see them, but he can make out the outlines. But he throws the scroll as far as he can, and actually hits Ino right inside of her arm. She winces, but she hits the scroll, and then with that, we end up seeing Shikamaru, who looks and says, honestly, he can probably guess who that is. He gets the scroll and says it's the one they need, and he just ends up yelling thanks to Naruto as they keep walking. Naruto does a thumbs up, as it was just like dumb luck that it worked. But he says that yelling probably caused attention, so let's follow them. As you Naruto's word, it did draw attention, which didn't really matter. They weren't really any special teams that Naruto could just take out from just the bushes, and he did so. It's clear for this one that for the basically for the written test, Sakura was the key point. Now the Force of Death, it's Naruto's. So eventually with this, it comes down to Orochimaru attacking them, but they're following Team Shikamaru because they had drawn attention with the yelling. Shikamaru knew that. So when Orochimaru attacks, Shikamaru immediately saw it and tried to use Shadow Paralysis on the snake. While Naruto actually flinging out basically just a ball of fire using his sword and tried to halt the snake even more. And it worked. Naruto flung off the snake, and Sasuke would charge him, hitting him with Lion's Barrage. But halfway through, Orochimaru grabbed his arm and hit him down against a tree, going to bite him immediately. But then he kicked him in the face by Sakura, which he didn't think anything of. Though he sent flying through the air with a broken jaw. In the air, we don't see Choji jump up, as Naruto's holding him up as like a kind of a ball. He then throws Choji down, as Choji would then roll into Orochimaru, sending him into the ground. And honestly, Shikamaru and couldn't have done that. Naruto is physically a complete beast. So Orochimaru means fighting teams 10 and team 7. As they fight, it's a pretty rough battle, to be honest. Pause. Alright, so as they fight Orochimaru, does realize that this is a very big disadvantage for him. So there's a whole other idea. And he targets starting basically at the middle, not the weakest. That'd be too obvious, and the strongest would be too obvious as well, so the middle. And that actually starts off with Sakura. But then he grabs Sakura by the neck and tie her up to a tree using his snakes, before one of them bites her, imbuing her with poison. Naruto immediately realizes what happened, seeing her arm start to turn purple, and he actually rushes over for hitting her arm with just kind of a neutralizing point. As you can tell where the chakra's going, or the poison's going, it's going to her chakra points. And he knows a bit about them, so she would kind of jab one of her chakra points, stopping the flow of the poison, but it is down in her kind of from the elbow down. So basically from her forearm to her fingers. and kind of just numbs it out. But she is still kind of out of the fight now. Next up will be Choji, and pretty quickly he's taken out, then Ino, and then Sasuke, and then basically goes on up until he gets to Naruto. But he goes on, and at this point, Orochimaru's a bit worn down because Naruto attacked him throughout the entire thing, and Naruto's a pretty dangerous opponent. But eventually, he tries to use the hidden snake technique on Naruto. But Naruto, staying through this, would have developed a whole new technique on the fly. And he calls it the Atomic Slash. If I already said that technique before, it's basically just an evolved version of it, being that it's more than one slash. It's hundreds. Because he's cutting through everything. And starts realizing the snakes aren't even having blood come out, just cutting everything on a level that they can't comprehend. And after a big issue of seeing that Naruto isn't cutting the snakes, he started cutting their chakra. He's cutting the very essence of life. He's cutting atomically. Orochimaru tries to dodge a slash, only for one of his eyes to be cut. And he cut the chakra point where Orochimaru's eye is just not useful anymore. Even if it's just the thinnest cut that can be healed, his eye is just useless now. Orochimaru back holding his eye, wondering how someone can be so strong. With Naruto being flowing chakra into his body, and then using the 9-tail chakra going to 3 tails. Naruto can either fight, and Orochimaru would barely beat Naruto. He's painting, his arm missing, one of his eyes is useless. He had the biggest beating ever. But he had still defeated Naruto. Then he grabs Sasuke, picking him up by the neck, bites him, throws him to the side, and walks off, wondering how such a kid is so strong. Having an interest in him as well, but you can tell that, if the atomic cutting was the Kikage guy, he'd bite him too, but he knows for a fact it's not. It seemed to just be a pure skill, thing that he had. Orochimaru does have interest in Naruto if the atomic cutting was the Kikage guy, because it basically just nullifies abilities the moment he cuts. But yeah. Eventually, everyone had gotten up, and as a gift, Orochimaru had left a scroll in Naruto's chest, the scroll he needed. Naruto just coughs, calling him a bastard, as he gets to his feet, and wakes up everyone else. And kind of just drags them all to, just under the same tree root. Actually, Sakura's arm goes normal. Naruto didn't try to kill her, he just wanted her out of the picture. She wouldn't be really worth killing. So with this, it goes on into Team Dosu attacking. When they do attack, though, we end up seeing Team 10 get up, and simply just tell Naruto, wait. He still needs a bit of time to recover, so step in if they need help. But if they're going to die, step in. Other than that, don't bother. Keep recovering. We owe you a favor. So soon, we end up having Dosu threatening to kill them. They don't handle Sasuke. But just in time, he's paralyzed by Shikamaru. Keen goes in to throw a Senbon at Shikamaru. But Naruto just step in, catching it, and just tells him that they are definitely too slow to catch that. So he'll stand by and just watch. He goes to Senbon, wondering who to throw it at. And then, meanwhile, actually would mind getting one transfer with Keen. And then actually would just swing her fist at a Dosu. But then Dosu, realizing that her fists or knuckles have Senbon in them, and nails him right, basically just over the bridge of his nose. We're actually kind of impaling a few of his eyes, one of his eyes as well. Dosu feels in pain, holding his face, and then right in time, Choji would just, what was the jutsu? He had turned into the human bullet technique and slam straight into Dosu. Dosu went flying into a tree, and he would fall pretty high from it. Naruto appears under it, holding up his sword, and Dosu falls right onto the sword, impaling him through the chest, killing him immediately. He took the sword out, quickly sheathing it, and vanishing again. No one even saw him do it. He was just that fast. Now, Zaku tried to go out for the entire, just sound wave blast. Bishop, what's it called? Saku. Decapitating airwaves is what they're called. He was going to hit them with it. But Naruto jumps in the way, holds out his hand, moves with chakra, and punches at it, or palm strikes at it. And right then and there, the sound waves basically just hit an abrupt stop, but creating a giant blast. Naruto's hand is a bit red and bloody, kind of just raw now, but he really would just bandage it up. And Zaku's honestly surprised that someone could even block that with their bare hand. With him moving on, he brings on Zaku, and just tells him that he's a bit annoying. And we would basically extend one of his knuckles and punch Zaku right in the throat. On the ground, coughing a bit, and then just passed out. They go over to Dosu, seeing if he's still awake, but they see a giant sword wound in his chest. Well, not a giant one, but a sword wound in his chest nonetheless. They got Naruto who just shrugs. But just in time, Sasuke wakes up for a fight. He attacks Naruto in a blind rage, but Naruto quickly just dodge, put him in a chokehold, and hold him there until he passes out again. With that, they make their way over to the tower within a span of 5 hours, about that. So yeah. They arrive, and Naruto basically keeping an eye on Sasuke. He's sitting like in front of Sasuke's door the entire time, seeing if he's going to go into another blind rage. Sakura's in her room, on her fist, doing push-ups, while kind of focus on just all the chakra in her body, trying to flow it properly, trying to just enhance her techniques. Naruto's meditating, flowing chakra into his blade, hoping that it would strengthen it over time, kind of passively. And while Sasuke, in his room, basically practicing his hand signs and how fast he can do them. Also, how long he can have the Sharingan out. Now, I don't feel like rearranging the fights, so I'm going to go over how they go. First fight, Sasuke versus Yoroi. Sasuke's a hand-to-hand expert at this point, because Naruto's constantly just not even using jutsu, so Sasuke has to keep up in some way, but he strengthens his hands a lot, like 7 does overall. So he's definitely probably about, I would say, high Chunin to low Jonin level in terms of hand-to-hand combat. So Yoroi's folded within seconds. Sasuke beat him senseless. He even used Lion's Barrage, he usually threw hands with him, and he couldn't keep up. Zaku vs. Shino. So, 3 fights that probably don't happen are Zaku vs. Shino, and Zaku vs. Shino, Kamaru vs. Keen, and Dosu vs. Choji. Because, 1, Dosu's fine, but his team is out. Keen. Yeah, she's just incapacitated after Ino swapped minds with her. She's on the left side of the loop. And Dosu's just dead. So, but anything, because the team isn't there, I would say that they're not allowed to actually be in the fight anymore. So Shino takes a whole other test to decide if he's worthy to progress. He is, since Shikamaru. Toji actually just fails, so he's not allowed to the finals. The next fight is Misumi vs. Kankuro. Kankuro won. He killed him the same way as he did in Canon. Sakura vs. Ino. Ino thinks the fight's going to be more fair until Sakura weaves hand seals and just uses the demonic illusion Hell Viewing technique. Ino's caught in jutsu and kind of just faints. Sakura felt bad, but honestly she needed Ino out of the picture quickly. He wouldn't have been a threat, but she would have been annoying. It goes up to Tenden vs. Temari. Goes the same way as Canon. Pretty simple fight. Naruto vs. Kiba. Alright, Kiba used Fang over Fang. Naruto punched into it and hit him flying to a wall. He punched the Fang over Fang and ended up taking out Kiba. So, yeah. I can picture Bellamy bouncing around and Luffy one-shotting him. Luffy basically did that or Naruto basically does to Kiba, just flying at him and just one punch. Like Kiba is just honestly too slow for Naruto. That's all it was. Hinata vs. Neji. That Neji was going overboard. Naruto felt like he owed Hinata a debt for helping him cheat, so he immediately would jump in and block one of Neji's strikes. And right on cue, Hinata fell over unconscious. So with that, with Hinata actually being clearly out of the fight, Naruto was qualified as someone who just basically made sure that Neji didn't go overboard and kill her. So with that, Naruto's in trouble. Neji is just told, ease up. The next fight is Gaara vs. Rock Lee. Basically the same as Canon, but when Lee is basically on his last legs, Naruto ends up jumping in and picks up Lee. Lee's body just goes limp, and Naruto carries him into the infirmary. Gaara jumps down, walking with Naruto, thanking him for being great with Lee. And Naruto says he has to acknowledge that Lee's a hard worker. And Naruto says he may be a genius, but Lee and him work just as hard, if not, Lee works harder. So, he sat down with Lee and kind of waited for Lee to wake up. In time, though, he's put Lee's arm and leg in a stint, so Lee could not really have full motion. If he knows Lee, or if he knows himself, and he knows Lee, he knows that Lee's going to get him to work out. So in the stints or splints, Lee will not be able to fully work out. His arm cannot go fully extended, so it kind of be a weird position. So, yeah. Pause. Okay. Now going to the one with the training. Naruto still meets Jiraiya. Still meets him. But Naruto actually does go in, Kishi's on Lee, and Jiraiya, train him, all that. But with summoning, Naruto got it down first try, because Jiraiya's like, oh, Kurama's chakra, or the Nine Tails chakra. Naruto summons it pretty quickly. He's like, I'm going to go up to 3 tails. I was like, oh, how? What he says, it's just a tug of war fight that I won. But there's still a lot more power it has that I can't get out of it. Kurama in Naruto's mind calls him a brat, saying saying if he was just any other kid, he would make sure to consume him. But Naruto's simply just too strong to consume, so he'll give him that bit of Naruto. He's a pretty strong guy, but he still hates Naruto. But then it goes on into summoning Naruto summons Zabuto first try, which is his own chakra, which works out pretty favorably. But then we move on into the next thing being Naruto visiting Lee a lot. Whenever he visits Lee, Lee tries to work out, and Naruto stops him. So, yeah. Sakura's in the finals, by the way. She's in the finals. So I would say that the way Sakura would probably train... So she's an interest with medical ninjutsu from the beginning, because Kakashi compared her to Tsunade. But also she trains with taijutsu a lot. I would say that Sakura probably trains with Tenten or Lee. Oh, why then? They don't have anything to do with genjutsu or medical ninjutsu. I'm going to say Lee. So, when it comes to that, Sakura actually asks Lee to train her. Lee asks how you train her in a bed, and she just says, watch what I do, tell me how to do it. Like, just tell me what to do. Lee actually gives her instructions on how to train with taijutsu, all that, even teaching her how to, probably use form techniques, all that. And he actually starts going along with it, agreeing. Pause. So after a bit, Sakura actually learns the basics of Lee's taijutsu style and all that. But also, she grows physically stronger in her base form, as well as Lee having her do the weighted training, all of that. But also, in the hospital, she actually learns how they heal Lee. So she starts learning to do it herself to actually make sure that Lee can recover faster. In fact, due to her prodigious nature, she gets better than a lot of the doctors there, so Lee's healing a bit faster. Well, yeah, he'll walk around and actually guide her a bit, but he's not exactly the best suited for, combat right now. Sasuke, he does the same training as Genin, but there's a bit more going into it. And then for Naruto, now that Zabuza is in the village, official citizen, all that, Haku as well. Haku starts helping Sakura as well when it comes to training, but then also we have Zabuza helping Naruto train. As already Jiraiya admits that Naruto is definitely more of a genjutsu master, but even then he can still learn a lot from Jiraiya. Jiraiya admits that. You can still learn a lot from me via nature releases. But also to start learning Rasengan as well. And Flying Raijin, he still does have that in his arsenal. And then we go on into the finals. Naruto versus Neji. So, with that fight, when that begins, Naruto hops in the arena, ready for a fight. I was in the stands just watching this. Kind of just not even wearing manhunter face or anything. He's just wearing very simple, plain civilian clothing with a katana on his hip. Haku's just wearing basically just kind of looks like a geisha at this point. And Naruto's in the stands just watching, wondering when her match is going to come up. But yeah, so Naruto versus Neji. What happens? It goes on to Neji first attacking Naruto, the kind of a mutual attack, and basically just going blow for blow. And Naruto is a genius, even Lee has before. He wonders if Naruto is going to be like him or like Lee. He's kind of wondering how Naruto's style is going to be. Is it going to be the aggressive phrases? Wonders if Naruto is going to fight the same arrogance as Neji, or as himself, or if he's going to fight with determination like Lee does. But Naruto shows off that she'd be fighting with more arrogance, mixed with just his natural skill that he had learned. But soon, Neji realizes that Naruto isn't even using a sword, he's only using his hands. As he gets a question when Naruto's doing that, Naruto jumps in the air and yells Neji right in the face with a kick as he yells dynamic entry. In the stands, Lee smiling, as he realizes that Naruto's using only taijutsu. Taijutsu that likely him and Guy would use. Using martial arts from their martial arts style. And soon, Naruto basically ends up rushing at Neji before vanishing behind him, and Neji loses sight of him completely. He looks around, only Naruto's hand strip out of the ground, and he ends up using what is it? The Headhunter Jutsu. But Neji on the ground, and as Neji is just kneeling under, Naruto leaping from the ground, and as he's in the sky, he falls down on Neji with just basically a Superman punch, right to the top of his head. With that, Naruto rolled over, and Neji at the ground, throwing him into the arena wall. Neji's wobbling, blood gushing from his head, wondering how to fight now. Like, he can't even see properly. His brain kind of just scrambled. When the Neji would see Naruto rushing in at him at top speed. Then Neji's gonna just freeze, like, why is he getting so close? Why is he going so fast? But then Naruto nails him the chest with a palm strike, caving in the wall. Not caving in, cratering the wall. Then he comes up blood and just falls to the ground, not having a chance to even go on his whole spiel about fate or anything like that. Naruto just wanted to beat the shit out of Neji for how rude he is to Hinata and Lee. And then in the locker room, Neji says the whole thing about his father from Hiyashi. Next fight is Shino versus Kankuro. But let's say earlier Kankuro forfeit, so the fight went on to Sakura versus Shino. Fight begins, and it's a pretty good fight, but I would say that the fact that that Shino's bug against chakra is a big fact that Sakura can't overcome sometimes. So as she's low on chakra, she would use a last-ditch effort against Jutsu. And Jutsu she uses, let's pause real quick, it's the tree binding death. We let Konoha use on Itachi. Konoha was trying to see this, and she knows that she's trying to get out of the tree, wondering if his bugs could get through it. But then, by the time he realized it was Genjutsu, and his bugs started breaking him out, he's already held the Kimono to his neck, and Sakura tries the winner. As soon as that's happened, Sakura would fall over, panting, wondering how much Sakura she had used in that fight. Shino held her up, calling her a skilled fighter. Final fight is Sasuke versus Gaara, and Sasuke has now 320 in one eye, 220 in the other, and he completely just obliterates Lee. Not Lee, I mean Gaara. Gaara is being folded every single way. Gaara cannot keep up a single way. Sasuke's faster, he's physically stronger, and his fire style arsenal is much higher. Oops, I forgot my fire style list. Pause. Sasuke ends up hitting Gaara's barrier with a jutsu, fire style jutsu, including flame shot, and all the actually below Gaara's hand, wide open. Sasuke charges in, and weaving more hand seals, but then weaving extra hand seals. It shoots a fireball that has sparks of lightning around it. They have a lot of chakra, but Sasuke was able to do it. It was a combination style jutsu, one that he had developed. The electric ball, electric fireball. Gaara put up stand up like walls, like basically just barriers and walls of sand to block it, but when it blew up, it basically turned Gaara's hand to glass. Gaara was surprised, only Sasuke basically just shoot already spear through it, sending Gaara flying to the wall with a giant basically wound on his side. Kind of in his chest shoulder area, going up to his shoulder. Gaara yelled in pain about how it's his blood, but then eventually he partially transforms and escapes. Naruto can just sigh, as then right in time around Q again Jutsu is cast, but Naruto's immune to it, Sakura saw through it, and you see everyone who didn't break out of it in canon did. But Sakura also basically put up basically two fingers, and just say release, releasing Genjutsu almost as quick as it was casted. Naruto to the ground, wondering who should go after Sasuke, all that, who should go help Hiruzen. But also we see that Hinata was also captured by Hidden Cloud Ninja. But also who's going to go after Kabuto. But then right on cue, more and more snakes jump in. Naruto decides, there's a lot of things here that I should do. Looks at Kabuto for grabbing Nine Kakashi for fighting Ninja and tells him, go after him. And that he'll handle the shinobi here. Then looks at Shikamaru, Sakura, and Shino, who are both now up, all three of them, and tells them to go after Sasuke. He'll join them in a second. And quickly, Naruto go down, cutting down every single ninja in this path with really minimal effort. Once she cleared out the entire stands within about a minute, we're rushing forward at the snakes at the gates. We're going to go on to the forest when it comes down to the team rushing for Sasuke. Shikamaru called out the sixth ninja, and immediately Shino just said that he'll stay behind and help Shikamaru, and Sakura actually said she has a better idea. With that, she picks up kunai, doing a chakra, throwing it right at the trees. Once the ninjas split out, actually one of them would jump in her path. At an angled kick, with a bit of, Lee's expertise, she would basically yell like a named attack, kicking one ninja into two more. And actually ended up ruining their whole formation. Shino would smirk at how well of a plan that was, actually covering them all in bugs, while Shikamaru would actually hold them in place of the shadows. It's a big struggle, but then eventually, when the chakra is drained, a few more bugs jump in, Shino will help out Shikamaru, and actually kill a few of the ninja. But by the time there's only one left, Asuma arrived, and would just deck him across the face, pretty quickly just taking out that ninja. with Guy and Kakashi. They're busy chasing Kabuto to the village. So Guy just says that he'll do this. Kakashi, I'll handle this. You go back to the village, or we go back to the stadium. Guy went to the third gate, swung fast ahead, and blitz Kabuto. Kabuto turns around and get kicked in the back of the head by Guy. And Guy proceeds to beat the absolute shit out of Kabuto, mercilessly. Kabuto basically in the ground in a crater, coughing up blood, unable to move. And Guy kind of stands over him, waiting for him to try to move one more time. Kakashi basically rushes as fast as he can over to the barrier Hiruzen's in, and pretty quickly he has an idea of just how to get by it. Yamabu asks what's his plan, and he would create 2 clones. One shut down, and all of them using one Chidori, they would rise basically hitting the building as fast as they can, and basically rooting the structure. As Sound 4 falls, Kakashi himself would jump up, and would Chidori spear Orochimaru's sword, shattering it, and never pierced Hiruzen. With that, he actually would tackle one of the let's say he tackles Tobirama, tackles him. He would put held down by Kakashi, barely, and able to pull the kunai from his head and destroy it. And that kind of cancels out the reanimation on Tobirama. But it was a struggle. Tobirama was a pretty strong guy for Kakashi at this point in the story. With that, he was able to get Hashirama out of the way, and at least a fair fight between him and Orochimaru. Naruto. He had told Nachi and Higashira what was going on for Hinata, so they ended up chasing her down to, save her. And Naruto was at basically the outskirts of the village, fighting with the snakes, killing them all as quickly as he can. But then doesn't he would see a fully formed Shukaku arise. He would just sigh before picking up kunai, throwing it right at one of the other snakes, doing it with wind chakra, piercing through it in one move. And he basically runs as fast as he could over Shukaku. And there he sees a beaten up Asuma, a beaten up Sakura, Sasuke, Shikamaru, Shino, all of that. And then Temari and Tanjiro would jump out of the bushes ready to attack Naruto. Well, believe it or not, he would just hit Temari in the face with just a pretty quick uppercut, and then Tanjiro just grab at the neck and help him place until he just faints. So yeah, he just quickly dismisses them that quickly. Naruto would decide for summoning Bunta, and he asks him, how are we gonna beat a killed beast? And Bunta just says, honestly, kid, how strong you seem to be, I have faith in you. Naruto has an idea and says, how much oil can you spit? Bunta just says, a lot, and he just put out a giant, oil bullet. Naruto actually dashed past, kind of under it, and then we coat his sword in chakra, covering it in flames. Then he slams it into oil, letting the oil into one fireball. Then he would just yell out another attack. Atomic Beeline Slash. So with this, he slashes down on one tails, actually basically just kind of burns through it. Instead of just cutting on the same level, no, he's just burning apart atoms. With that, Shukaku basically falls apart, and Gaara falls with him. Naruto shoots his sword, grabs Gaara, and lands with him. Pause. Naruto still gives Gaara the whole talk no jutsu, but tells Gaara how he persevered. He just ignored them and trained as hard as he could. That's how he's so strong. He had an acknowledgement through strength, not fear. So with that, Gaara had a whole new goal, and Gaara would, turn inside a good. Back in Konoha, Orochimaru was, still fighting Hiruzen and Kakashi, but then, as Kakashi would about to, or Susan would, use the Great Death Seal, Kakashi wouldn't let him, and basically would just kick Hiruzen out of the way. And then, just in time, Kabuto was thrown right at Orochimaru. Orochimaru just stopped Kabuto's body. From above, God would go into the 6th gate, and he was Morning Peacock would slam clean into Orochimaru, who was taking him down right then and there. So, he defeated Orochimaru. He was already tired, so it worked out. Busan 4, still being around, saved Kabuto and Orochimaru. But they're more importantly, they're happy that Hiruzen's around. Now, Hiruzen thought with Medic Kakashi reached Orochimaru's body was just mangled. And realized that Guy's kick had basically disrupted the entire vessel. Guy's attack ruined his current vessel severely. But in this case, he didn't really care that much, because Orochimaru's body is kind of just destroyed. But Kakashi is still kind of in trouble for, kicking the Hokage. Oh yeah, Kakashi's in trouble. Guy is, praised. And Naruto acknowledges as a hero. Because, he's doing a lot of work. He killed a few dozen Hidden Sound and Hidden Saiyan Shinobi. So, yeah. But then we go on into the search for Tsunade arc, which Sakura joins. So, Naruto, Jiraiya, and Sakura are going on the Tsunade retrieval mission. But first, Naruto is given the title of Jonin. Oh, why is he a Jonin? He killed all of the Seven Snakes, killed about 20 Hidden Sound ninja, and Sand. So, probably, also he killed 25 ninja even. And then make sure of Hidden Sand and Hidden Sound. Helped defeat the One Tails. And also can organize where everyone should go. Yeah, he's definitely getting a Jonin rank after that. Pause. Okay. So Naruto's a Jonin. Sasuke ends up with the title of Chunin. He proved that he's worthy of that title. Like, he beat the shit out of Gaara. Plus the combination jutsu is something that's very unique to him, on the verge of being called a jutsu that he created. So, that's enough for Chunin title. Shikamaru, Chunin. So, yeah. Now, Sakura trains the search for Tsunade, and then it goes on to Kakashi, Guy, Asuma, Alba, and Kurenai versus Itachi and Kisame. But also now, Haku and Zabuza. Alba and Haku fight Kisame for a bit, and Haku actually ends up being able to actually stop Kisame by using ice, and actually freezing the water he was on, holding his feet in place. But right as it is about to break out, Alba ends up cutting both his heels in a split second. Alba learned a thing or two from Naruto. Mainly speed. Naruto's very fast. So he had to learn to keep up. But then also a bit more help from Jiraiya about natures. He actually learned a bit of wind. And with all the knowledge over water, he learned ice release as well. Well, Kisame is actually kind of captured at this point, but then Itachi escapes, helps Kisame escape as well, and Kisame can barely walk right now. But soon, Naruto is still confronted by Itachi and Kisame. Kisame basically being stitched up and healed by Samehada. Well, stitched up, but healed by Samehada. But this one is Naruto and Sakura who are there. So, right as Naruto gets the doors, he looked at them both and said, "Can I have a minute to get dressed?" And he's kind of poked his head out and was like, "Oh, who are you? Like, you need to come with us. Can I get dressed?" Right as he shuts the door and went back, Sakura already knew that Naruto was ready to attack, not ready to attack, but just ready to fight. And he was dressed, obviously. Sakura jumped at the door and punched it at full force. Kisame was ready to kick it down, but his hook ended Sakura's fist, and that was a battle of strength that Kisame would not win, because honestly he's going basically just average strength. Sakura's enhancing her strength a lot and surpassed Kisame. Kisame sent flying back, holding his foot, and yells, "Damn it still hurts." Itachi wants to grab Sakura by the neck, but then Naruto grabbed Itachi's wrist and flipped him through the air, throwing him back at Kisame. Naruto just laughs and tells him they can't be this weak. He ends up drawing his sword. Then Naruto activated Sharingan, but pretty quickly, Naruto ends up activating the chakra, and the Genjutsu just does not work on Naruto. With that, Naruto and Itachi begin fighting, and Kisame is going to fight Sakura, which he's pretty much just dominating that fight. Then Naruto has an idea, as he ends up basically coming back from Itachi. Itachi tries to rid of Naruto, and then he's just going to try to short tackle Kisame. But into a shock, Naruto draws a sword and impales himself clean through the chest. Itachi wondering what he's doing, until the sword goes through him and right into Kisame's back. Then Kisame coughed up blood, when Sakura would punch Kisame right in the chest, pushing the sword all the way through while pushing Naruto further onto his own blade. Kisame coughed up blood, and Sakura needs to wail right on him in the chest as much as she can. While Naruto would yank the sword out of his chest and use an until chakra to heal quickly. And that's where Itachi realized where Naruto's plan was. It was just to basically wound one of them so everyone would likely retreat. While Kisame kind of recovered from a stab wound, Sakura kicked Samehada away, and beat him on Kisame's stab wound. Eventually, Sasuke would jump in, then Jiraiya, all of that. So, Itachi's holding up a barely able to stand Kisame, and then Kisame would barely hold up Samehada. Until Samehada would just eat Kisame to heal. So, yeah. And Naruto holds his chest as he does still feel a bit of pain from the stabbings up in the chest, and Sakura will call him an idiot. And he says, hey, I can heal. It was smart. But there's a little argument with Jiraiya now as well. Again, Sasuke's being put in the Genjutsu. Naruto and Sakura can break it. It just took a bit of time to do so. So, yeah. Pause. Alright. Eventually, there comes down to some training. Naruto fully masters the Rasengan with one hand, all that. But also being actually able to use a sword with a Rasengan-like attack. Wondering what that is? Well, basically, his sword begins having a spiral chakra around it. When he slashes it, it's basically make sure a blunt force impact, AoE damage, but also just, so impact, AoE, and then just slashing. Well, that basically just cuts your opponent, hits them with the Rasengan, but also just damage into our surrounding area. It kind of just blasts you in half, is what it can do. And right onto this Rasengan, there's literally a stronger version of it, because the sword also imbued with a bit of fire, it can also burn you. It's a very dangerous attack. Now Sakura is learning more and more, techniques. When she's in the Tsunade, pretty much goes the same, but when she's especially Hokage, Naruto doesn't care, he doesn't want to be Hokage, he wants to be the god of shinobi. He just doesn't need Hokage to be that. Basically, he calls her kind of like a fraud. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. He says, "You're student of the professor, the third Hokage. Hey, none of his students would be like you. Orochimaru is a better example of a student than you are." Tsunade and him in an arguing match, which is him kind of just calmly arguing, and she's just drunk, so she's mad. But eventually ends up with him challenging her to a fight, wondering how well he fared against Sanin. It knows how well he did against Orochimaru, but it turns out he was also holding back a bit so the area didn't get damaged and hurt Sasuke. So he and Tsunade end up going outside to fight. And as they fight, it's pretty much a battle of who's going to heal faster and do a lot of damage to the other. But eventually Tsunade's arm is cut off by Naruto, and right as it goes through her arm, he stabs the stump and then stabs further in. He was in pain, offered an uppercut her in the face as hard as he could, sending her flying back. And then as she got to fall, Naruto hit him in the air, landing on her face with the elbow grab as hard as he could, knocking her out right then and there. He gets the sword out, but also falls over out of being the fact that he's just exhausted. Kind of a draw, so he beat drunk Tsunade. Woke up, regrew her arm, and surprised at how strong Naruto is. Jiraiya said that, she didn't go all out, but he didn't go all out either, but even then, if Tsunade went all out and had, conditioned herself, she would have won, but even then, she was taking a lot of damage. Tsunade knows how strong Naruto is, and even surprised that he's a Jonin, according to Jiraiya. Jiraiya gets drugged, then it comes down to a fight with Jiraiya versus Orochimaru and Manda. And then Tsunade versus Kabuto. Kabuto throws off blood, she gets scared. But right in time, Naruto and Sakura jump in. Sakura punches Kabuto right in the shoulder, breaking it. Kabuto gets in pain when he grabs Sakura, but then Naruto's grabbing his hand, and Kabuto tries to sever the ligaments and all that stuff in it. Or just kind of just everything in Naruto's hand. But Naruto quickly healed, broke out instantaneously, and crushed Kabuto's hand immediately. Kabuto yelled in pain, one friend pull out basically kunai, and cut off Kabuto's arm entirely. Kabuto yelled in pain, holding back, holding just the stump, but then he's kicked right into Manda at top speeds. Right as he bounces off Manda, Sakura jump in, and a charge punch would slam into his chest one more time, and that punch would then actually de-summon Manda. Orochimaru, being in a weakened body temporarily, would land on his Kabuto, and they know they have to leave, especially Kabuto, who's dying. So they end up escaping, and Kabuto has to get a whole new arm. So, yeah, not great. Okay. So they head back to the Leaf, and then eventually Sakura's made a Chunin for, how she handled Kabuto. Also, Tsunade would take her on as a pupil. And Naruto's still a Jonin. But now you go on to a Land of Snow movie. So, a lot of this movie go pretty much the same, but in this one, Yuki's guards end up being Haku and Zabuza. So Naruto never actually accidentally beats them up, because, they're chasing her. No, it was just for a scene. But Naruto never beat them up because Zabuza and Haku are among them. It was a mission by Hiruzen. But then more ninja were summoned because Yuki asked for it. Now, when Yuki is kidnapped by, I think it was a blimp, that can be prevented pretty quickly by Naruto, Haku, or Zabuza, or even Kakashi. So, never gets kidnapped immediately. Like, the Dodo's team attacks, not Doto, his team attacks, almost immediately they all die. Like, Naruto and Zabuza are not special. Like, Zabuza taught Naruto how to assassinate people with this blade in the middle of combat. So Naruto and Zabuza both do that pretty quickly, killing 2 of the guards. Sakura pretty quickly take out the other one, so Sasuke ends up basically freezing in place with Genjutsu and a Sharingan. And Kakashi would take down Doto himself with Haku. The blimp never really just was important. And Land of Snow experiences the spring. So, movie kind of ended at the halfway point instead of a full, like, hour or something, I believe. Alright, pause real quick. For the Sasuke retrieval mission. First we go on to the Naruto vs. Sasuke on the rooftop. But Sasuke is never really injured. The Genjutsu was, like, fixed like an hour after it happened for Sasuke, so he's fine. And then when it came down to Kakashi, I assume that probably Blend of Snow movie kind of just negates that little thing, but I don't really care that much to say like it happened. Let's say he's still under the effects for some reason. So Kakashi gets help from Genjutsu, and then it comes down to Naruto Sasuke happens on like the training ground. Naruto will be busy just training. Sasuke wants to fight him, see how strong he's grown. And when he uses 3-2 Sharingan in both eyes. He fights Naruto, and the thing is, Naruto quickly just able to evade all Sasuke's attacks like it's nothing. Sasuke is just too slow. Like Sasuke cannot, attack fast enough or anything like that. Naruto quickly just block, deflect, all that. Even with the Sharingan, Sasuke can't deflect Naruto's attacks or block them. He can just see them coming, but there's nothing he can do about them. One of them he did dodge, though. Naruto turned chakra into his sword, slashed, and then a giant ball of fire came out of it. Sasuke was hit by it immediately. Even using his curse mark, and even then, he still lost to Naruto. He is just too strong. But Sasuke still recruited by Sound 4, and the Genin team is just formed, being Naruto, Shikamaru, Neji, Kiba, Akamaru, and Choji. But this one the leader is Naruto, because he's a Jonin. But also, we have Sakura on the team as well, because she can actually fight. Now, first fight is Choji versus Jirobo. This one, it came down to how strong Jirobo is. Naruto being called out, like, this fight is basically just pure strength for Jirobo. Well, Sakura should handle it. She's pretty good with her strength. And Sakura agrees, and she'll handle Jirobo quickly. And she does. When the fight begins, Jirobo and her end up kind of just clashing, like, who's going to push their back. But then she ends up having a different idea. And they're basically just breaking all of Jirobo's fingers on a whim. Like when they locked hands, pushing to their back, let's go pretty quickly, grabs Jirobo's fingers, and bends them all as far back as she can, snapping them immediately. Right after Jirobo's off guard, full power punches the solar plexus, and him flying back. That's already enough to actually kind of make him cough with blood and hold him back. But then Jirobo's kind of coughing with blood, holding his chest. Sakura rushes forward, the kunai drawn, and Jirobo knows there's a kunai in his chest. This fight happens within the span of like 2 minutes. It's not a long fight. Sakura fights smart, and she fights for Sasuke. She's going to find Sasuke. Jirobo's preventing her to do so. Pause. Next fight is Neji versus Kidomaru. But Naruto ends up basically summoning a clone and watches the fight. Because he doesn't really trust Neji to survive this fight, as Kidomaru is truly like... Kidomaru kind of plotting. He can tell Kidomaru's plotting something, so he has a clone just to watch the fight, make sure Neji survives. But Neji still has a concussion from how hard Naruto had hit him in the Chunin exams. So, yeah. Next fight is Kiba and Akamaru versus Sekon and Ukon. Over this one, though, Naruto simply said that he'll handle it. They can trudge forward. Sakura will join them pretty quickly after he said that. So Naruto's going to fight Sekon and Ukon for this one. So they end up fighting for a bit with him trying to fuse to his body, but he's quickly able to avoid that. And also that Kiba would not have survived this fight on his own. So as Ukon would try to attack and, flee Naruto's body, within a quick second, he would basically pull out a shuriken and plunge it right into Sekon's face. So, going on pain, Naruto just palm her farther into Ukon's face, killing him right then and there. Sekon would attack even more, hoping to, end his life. But Naruto would weave hand seals, actually use a jutsu. And a wind style one, but, yeah. He would use wind style, wind release, pressure, damage. And basically just a tornado mass compressed until it kind of explodes. And he does that right to Sakon's face and kills him right then and there. Sakon died immediately. And here's when kind of saw the massive explosion, like kind of just dome of explosion happen. But we're going to go back to Neji. Right as Neji's about to hit a giant arrow to the stomach, the clone will jump in, cutting the arrow in half. Neji seeing his Q would jump off the tip of the arrow before it hit the ground, charging right at Sakon, and one strike to the brain, and it kind of severed it from everything. So yeah, Neji killed Kidomaru in just one strike. So yeah, a pretty quick attack that landed pretty well. So yeah. Shikamaru versus Tayuya. So he handles this one still, and he ends up winning the same way as Genin, but Tamari still helps him. So yeah. Then Kimaru. So when this fight happens, it's Naruto, Sakura, Choji, and Kiba. So with this, when it comes down to this, Sakura tells Naruto to head forward, and he rushes by. Kimaru tries to stop him, he blitzes him pretty quickly, because Naruto's just a lot faster. And, yeah. So, yeah. But, sorry. I got a nosebleed in the middle of talking. I'm going to pause for that. Alright. Yeah, Naruto does plus Kimaru. Naruto stop him. Naruto's just too fast. He went by him. So, Sakura, Choji, Kiba, and, Sakura, Choji, and Kiba all fight Kimaru. Now he's able to hold them all off pretty easily up until drunk Lee arrives, or Lee arrives then gets drunk. Then as it comes out, there's the fact that they can't really, Kimaru can't keep up with any of them now. Because Sakura ends up using a technique that Lee had kind of been urging her to learn. And that being the 8 gates. She ended up learning the first 2. After using the second one, she ends up basically nailing him right in the chest and taking him out. Not taking him out, but kind of knocking the wind out of him. And after that happened, we end up seeing Lee use one final attack and then knocks out Kimaru, saying something doesn't really need to arrive. Like, when Conqueror arrives, like, this fight's handled. Then God arrives, this fight's handled. With this, everyone, now that they're fine, makes their way to the final valley to watch Naruto versus Sasuke. And they arrive in the middle of the fight beginning. Rise and hit the water to charge each other, and after Sasuke beat the brakes off Sasuke like using a sword, Sasuke cannot keep up with Naruto whatsoever. He's just too fast, too strong, etc. By the end of it, though, yeah, Naruto defeated Sasuke without really much effort. Like, if you want to go like a diff, mid. Like, Sasuke could not really handle Naruto. Even if Naruto did pull, even Sasuke went like all out, Naruto pulling a sword would cut Sasuke's wings to pieces within seconds. So everyone went in to, go retrieve Sasuke. But then Kabuto arrived, as did, Manda and Orochimaru. With this, they also fight him now, and they all ended up losing. Well, Naruto, he's still standing, but he's very tired. And with the amount of snakes there that Naruto has to go through, ends up with Sasuke still escaping. So, yeah. So Sasuke escapes, but barely. Well, I'm going to end this part here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe for more. Adios.